You can make an extra 500,000 or more per year in just flipping houses. Whether you are working full-time, part-time, whether you have good credit with little down payment, or maybe poor credit with a strong down payment, there are strategies that you can utilize to help you accomplish this goal. House flipping can be a great investment for you if you are looking for a safe bet investment where you can keep your money and leave it alone for a long period of time. This isn't what you are looking for if you are looking for longer term growth. However, if you are looking to turn your money around very quickly to capitalize on a much higher return on your investment, you can explore the house flipping process. House flipping requires some time, some money, some planning, some patience, and also individuals with necessary skill set. But you must keep current on the changing market condition because every assumption you made at the beginning may be invalid at the end. Remember to do your research. The sale price must exceed the combined cost of acquisition, cost of holding the property, and cost of renovation. So at the time that you are selling your house after you totally complete with the remodeling job, you must factor all of that in order to determine the right price you are going to list your market. The sale price must never exceed the combined cost of acquisition, the cost of holding. You may have watched TV shows about house flipping, but the word flipping and house flipping mainly describe purchasing a potential revenue generating property with the intention of selling it quickly for a profit. If you don't have experience in flipping house, you might think it's easy to make profit, but your profit is gonna be heavily dependent on how well you have negotiated the purchase price at the beginning and how many other factors that you have factored for. The profit you can potentially generate will depend on many factors such as how well you have negotiated the purchase price, your repair costs, holding costs, title attorney costs, title insurance costs, cost of money, agent commission of the sales side, the seller's concession, insurance costs, property tax costs, utility costs, mowing costs, HOA costs if applicable, among other costs. In flipping houses, sometimes it's a great idea for you to look in neighborhoods that you know. Spending some time in the weekend, driving through a neighborhood that you feel comfortable, finding for potential opportunities such as a for sale by owner, a for rent sign, or other houses that are being remodeled in the area by contacting the next home to see if they were thinking about selling. Sometimes it's finding a house that is not well upkept in a beautiful neighborhood and potentially get access to that owner to see if they are willing to sell you that house without them having to make any repair to the house. What that does is allowing you to have an opportunity to negotiate a great sale price for that house at the beginning, given the fact that you will be fixing many of the issues that you see. For example, this house I'm about to show you, you will see that it's a beautiful lake house that worth over 400,000. But the opportunity that we have here is that there are many issues the current owner have with the house. But when you have a house like this with so many different issues, what you have to consider is the opportunity that it provides for you. The owners do not really want to spend that much time repairing the house because they do not know exactly if the money that they are coming out of pocket, if they are gonna make it back. Because some people may spend a lot of money repairing houses and only to break even. So you, as a potential flipper, your goal is to generate profit. And in order for you to generate profit, you must buy at a certain price level. That's why you must stick to that 70% rules in making an offer on a house. In this particular house that we are in right now, you will see all the issues with the balconies, with the kitchen, with the other areas of the house that is in the process of being renovated. This house is a perfect case because the opportunity that we have here is that we are able to get a house at a much lower price than it will worth if we did not have these issues. These issues that we have here is the perfect issues you want to look into a house, because a potential buyer that is qualifying for FHA and VA will not be qualifying for this house because it will not go FHA or VA. House with foundation issue, house with such issues as this needs to be repaired before someone will be able to qualify for it from an FHA perspective. So what that means for you as an investor is that you get to negotiate a much lower sell price at the beginning, given the fact that you are going to fix these issues you are looking at. So, but let's look at this as another approach. By you investing in a community where one majority of the previous sale exceed 400,000 in the area, you have an area where you have multi-million-dollar houses, houses under 500,000, houses not less than 350,000. Then you have this particular house with so many issues. That is a key find, because if these issues were to cause 50,000 to repair, given that your purchase price is low enough, you can generate a great 30% or more return on your investment after you factor all your costs that is involved in this purchase. In real estate flipping, creating a budget, sticking to that budget is a very key strategy that will help you become successful. In house flipping, your budget is going to be a king. Every choice you make should serve your goal of generating a profit. To generate that profit, you need to figure out what your overall budget will be, how much you can spend on each facet of the process. When building your budget, you have to be sure to consider the following factors, such as your purchase price, which is a key factor in the real estate investing business. Figuring out how much you can spend on a property is going to be a key task. This will help you price everything else in your budget. Cost of repairs and labor. You have to bring in the expert. Schedule a property inspection with a qualified inspector before you actually buy that house. Have a contractor give you an estimate on the work that needs to be done. For example, here is a property where we have multi-level, a 3-level lake house that has a balcony issue on the 3rd floor. The balcony issue is such a high risk, you have to bring several experts that can actually solve this property, where over time you do not have to have the risk of a particular homeowner falling from the 3rd floor balcony because of improper development. This type of risk is a factor because the right general contractor or the right laborer may cost you more money than you initially budget in your initial plan. Well, this type of approach is something that you must consider clearly before you make that purchase decision. However, this type of problem is going to be one of those key reasons why you are able to negotiate a great price for this particular lake property, because the seller will not be able to get a buyer that qualifies for this property as is from an FHA perspective, from a VA perspective. The only investor that will purchase this property is either a conventional investor or someone with the cash, but with the cash you will be negotiating a much lower price for this property, factoring the problem it has in order for you to be able to make a greater profit at the time you are selling. Make sure you take your time to evaluate all the necessary repair that is required for a property so you don't pay too much for a property. You have to have these information before you can actually make the right offer for a property. Ensure that you use the 70% rules, which state that you as an investor should never pay more than 70% of the after repair value for a property minus the repairs needed. The ARV is what a home is actually worth after it's fully repaired. To give you an example, if you buy a home that has an ARV of 200,000 and it needs 50,000 in repair, then the 70% rules mean that you as an investor should pay no more than 90,000 for the home. 200,000 times 0.70 equal 140,000 minus 50,000. That would give you the 90,000 offer price that you will need to offer in order for you to buy this property with the correct price. Your profit will typically derive from major improvement you have made to the house and from price appreciation resulting from a hot real estate market in which prices are rising rapidly. For example, you may purchase a foreclosure, fix it up in a hot neighborhood, then you make substantial renovation, then offer that property for sale at a higher price. But remember, flipping houses is not just as easy as buying low and sell high. You must remove emotion after property has been remodeled. Your goal is to complete the transaction as quickly as possible to limit the amount of time your money is at risk. You should focus on speed as opposed to maximize profit, because each day that passes costs you more money. For example, you have your mortgage, your utilities, your property tax, your insurance, all the costs associated with the home ownership. You must research financial options extensively to determine which mortgage type that best suits your need and find a lender that offers you a very low interest. It is very important for you to learn about private lenders, bank-owned real estate REO properties, foreclosures, short sale, real estate investment clubs, hard money lenders, etc. You can generate a steady flow of income by engaging in frequent flipping, perhaps making 500,000 or more extra per year, but you must take time to acquire those knowledge. You may enjoy bank auction like I do, but bank auction often present opportunities to purchase properties below their market values. This is mainly because banks hold these auctions in order to sell the properties as fast as possible. If you attend a bank auction with a clear defined goal or strategy, you can potentially walk away with a new property that fits perfectly for your investment, which means that buying at the right price and getting ready to sell at a much higher price after remodeling. There are many types of house flipping. There are two main methods of real estate investing to consider when flipping a house. You have fix and flip, you have buy and hold. Those two are two separate mindsets that an investor like you will utilize in the flipping process. Sometimes a fix and flip may turn to a buy and hold depending on the location where you purchase the property. If you are using a fix and flip process, it means that you buy the property, renovate it, update the house, and then sell it for a profit. Using this process usually happens very quickly, ideally within the span of a few months or several months depending on the market condition. The technique of buy and hold only means that you buy in a property in the market where home values are rising quickly. You as an investor typically doesn't make any update but wait for the home to appreciate and sell it months later at its appreciated price. The best way you can finance your next flip is paying cash for it. Obviously, that's the most straightforward solution for you to pay for your next flip, which will empower you to have better position in your negotiation, meaning that you can close sooner. You have more power to close at a flexible time than you would typically do if you were going the mortgage route. However, if you don't have that type of money laying around, financing your next flip through the traditional mortgage approach will also be a possibility. For example, the mortgage approach usually takes time because of the paperwork that is required to be obtained in order for you to get approval for the loan. Traditional mortgage approach requires you to have an acceptable credit. Even though you can use the hard money lending approach, will require you not to have as a perfect credit, but the interest rate you will be paying is anywhere from 9%, 10%, 12%, 15%, depending on the hard money lender. You can actually use a HELOC loan, which is a home equity line of credit. That typically implies that you have a current house with enough equity for you to take out a HELOC loan. Before you make any investment on any market, you must take your time to understand that market or learn that market. To successfully flip a house, you must become skilled on the real estate market you are going to be buying and selling in. If you don't, you are risking putting more money in than you will end up make at the end. Understanding the process and how to interact with the real estate market will help you know how much you would need to spend on a particular house, or even how to identify the home potential value on how to price the home when you are getting ready to put it back in the market. It is important not to try and increase the value so much that the house becomes overbuilt for the neighborhood you are investing in. When this happens, the house becomes harder to sell because houses tend to be valued similar within that particular neighborhood. To avoid this, you need to do your research. So therefore, you must learn as much as possible on that particular market. Learn about what features make a home more marketable in your area, and focus on repairs that will increase the market value for that home in that particular area. When it comes to flipping houses, you must prioritize the repair process. The renovation you do must boost the value of the home, but how you can know what will add value? You have to focus on the area that add the most value to the property. When you are getting ready to list that house, things like the kitchen, the master bedroom, the bathrooms, many other part of the house will have a much higher value than others. After you have completed all the necessary repairs, you will need to make a lot of other decisions about how you want the house to look. So staging the house may be an approach that you will decide to do, because by staging the house, you are likely to get an offer much faster because the new potential buyer can envision things even clearer. When you are prioritizing your renovation process, you should focus on upgrade that will look clean and modern. Do not do things that will cause a delay in the sale process when it's come time to sell the property. Remember, the kitchen is extremely important for you to update and renovate correctly. Kitchen can become an outdated look quickly depending on the approach that you use. If the kitchen become outdated, you will have a somewhat of a delay when you getting ready to sell that house. Invest in a nice curve appeal. The landscape around the house is very important to look appealing for the next buyer. Make sure you have a consistent painting that flows throughout the entire house. For example, the bathroom should be semi-gloss paint. That way, if someone with children wanting to clean off the paint, they can easily do it with a wet rag instead of having the paint peeling off when they put anything wet on the wall.